There's been some talk of late of smart cities, and it's clearly the way we're moving here in the UAE, particularly in Dubai. But what's a smart city and what does it mean to you and me? Here to try to fill in the gaps is Claudel, President for Middle East and Africa at Gemalto. So let's start here. The term smart city is something of a buzzword. Just how much is understood? Is there a simple definition of just what a smart city is, Eric?
I think it's very hard to give a quick definition. I think basically what you're trying to achieve is to bring technology to the people in the city to make their life easier and more secure, more safe.
Now, give me an example of a truly smart city, at least somewhere that's actually well on the way.
Well, I think it relates a lot to transportation, and we are providing people in the city easy way to get transportation and to combine technologies. For instance, a credit card where you also have an application to go on the TRA buses and tram and metro.
Now, it's a hard thing to do to become a smart city. Surely, this is a technological advance, but it's also change. And plenty of people don't like change. Now, you've got to, in most cases, retrofit the infrastructure aspects and then get people to accept and adapt to the change, right?
Yeah, I'll give you another example of what could be a smart city implementation. In particular, in the city, transit is becoming an issue, and we need to ease the transportation. And in particular, the interaction when you're driving your car, you should be able to know where you have congestions, and you should have an option to go to take another route to get to the point you want to go to. And obviously, connected cars is something we are, as Gemalto, working on to bring this immediate interaction when you're driving your car. If there is an accident, you're going to be aware immediately that there is an accident. If you have an accident, your car is immediately going to report to the rescue crews that you had an accident, and it's going to be a much quicker interaction, and the ambulance is going to come straight immediately.
Tell me about some specific technologies that we might expect in this smart futuristic city.
I might give you an example for patients suffering diabetes and all those diseases or chronic diseases where the patients have to go to the hospital. So we provide to these patients bracelets and equipments that allow them to stay home, and their level of insulin would be reported immediately and in a very secure manner to the hospital, so they can monitor and give instructions so that they can be followed but staying home. So it's more convenient for people, and it's safer for their health.
So in many aspects, having a smart city and having the system in place for it saves lives.
It can save life, in particular in transit, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, much was made of the smart city principles at the recent government summit, and it's clearly the direction that we're moving in here. Emirates ID Cards, the idea of having everything bundled together so we can cut through bureaucracy and get stuff like visa renewals or pay our DIWA bills far more easily. It's pretty good here, but how far down the path are we?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and obviously a lot about smart city seems to be related to mobile and mobile government. These are the words we hear. And so Gemalto is providing the Emirates ID card, and we're trying to move, obviously, and port the identity onto the mobile so you can easily access and identify yourself through your mobile. So mobile means a convenience, and we like convenience. Now, what is really important, our job, is to bring security. Mm-hmm. Mobile, we have a lot of identification in the mobile. We have a lot of credentials. We have information, personal information. Our job is to protect that information, and obviously to ease at the same time. But we must not forget that all those projects to make a smarter city needs to bring not only convenience but security for the people and for the data and for our privacy.
We've had numerous discussions about security. Now, what's being learned? What are the lessons from the smart cities you've already mentioned?
First, it has to be simple, evolutive, so that the subscribers and the citizens do adapt those technologies. Now, what we've seen as failure examples is if you don't bring security and you have a security incident, and we've seen some lately very large security incidents and fraud cases in the US. As the moment you have this security incident, citizens will stop using these convenient elements that you bring to them. So it has to be built in as we provide those new ways to transport, new way to access to information through the web, government portals, or payment, or a transfer money through your mobile. If you don't have inbuilt since the beginning the security features, then the first incidents will make the whole thing collapse. So it has to be very, very secure from the beginning.
And have you got that here in Dubai?
We're working on it, sure. I think in this country we have already a very good level of security. We feel secure, right, when we walk and we leave our door open, right, and our house. Now, I think as the country grows, as money flows in and out, we will see more cases of fraud or attempts, right? So we need to protect that and look at the social networks. We put our staff photos and data on the web through the social networks, and we all know that this is accessible by many, right, or millions, and sometimes we wonder, how can I take it back, because I don't want this to be public, and it's impossible. So we have to be very aware that our data and privacy is important, and the access and security is very important. We're working on it, and I think Dubai is very, and the government is very aware and careful about making sure that those smart city implementation will be done in a very secure manner for its citizens.
Now, what are the dangers that can happen? Much of the smart city type initiatives that we are seeing is infrastructure management, whether that's traffic lights talking to each other or sensitive personal data and Emirates ID cards, which you mentioned before. People have a right to be wary about information kept about them, and as you said, particularly personal ID data or financial information.
What is important that you can control that information. So when it's put publicly, you control the access key, right? That's our job, is to provide security, encrypted information, and you own the key as a person, so that you are the only one to decide whether this information is going to be posted, and then you can retrieve it, block it through keys. So there are security measures that we provide and that allow that control. But obviously social networks have not been built from the beginning with the security that today its users would like to have. We need to work on it, but because it was not built and it became used by hundreds of millions, so it's very difficult to walk backwards. Now when you launch new services that you can address to your phones, and this is exactly what the government of the UAE is doing, and I think they are thinking about security from the very beginning, which is very good.
So we're not there yet, but the bottom line is the government and your company are working towards that goal. Ultimately, living in a smart city should be easier and a more efficient way of living.
I think it ends up in happiness. I think Sheikh Mohammed mentioned happiness, and I think this is a good summary. A smart city has to bring happiness to its citizens, because you feel better, you feel you can grow as a person, and but I think it's very important to think about also next generation. You need to be able to learn, go to university, enjoy yourself, move freely, and this is, I think, Dubai is well on its track.
That's the goal. Well, thank you very much, Eric Claudel, President for Middle East and Africa at Gemalto. Thank you for joining us here on Drive Live.
Thank you.